Welcome to the New School of Marketing podcast, the place for smart, simple strategies that will amplify your business results. Sharing practical tips, insider knowledge, and actionable advice because marketing is something that every business owner can do. Now, let's get started. Introducing your host, Bianca McKenzie, mum, lover of snow sports, camping, horse riding, and in-demand launch strategist and Facebook advertising knowledge bank.
Hey, welcome to the podcast. I'm really excited about this episode and I've been having so much fun creating it. So, AI, artificial intelligence, has been around for quite some time, really. It's not really that new, but it's becoming more accessible to all of us. And I'm not sure if you've had a play with it, but I had a good play with it for this episode. And while it gave me some pretty good answers, I definitely had a whole lot of extra things to say and add. So let's get into it, right? I'm definitely not going to hand over all of my copywriting and ad copy to a robot, even though they're pretty smart. There are tons of issues with it that I won't really go into today. I'm not completely go into, but I do want to mention that there's no fact checking. It's full of plagiarism, because it pulls intelligence from websites and it just lacks human emotion, really. Anyway, I really wanted to talk to you about conversion copywriting for your Facebook ads. And yeah, let's have a look at it, what you need to know, how to go about it. First of all, let's have a look at what conversion copywriting is. So, conversion copy is a type of marketing copywriting that is focused on persuading people to take a particular action. For example, signing up to a newsletter, purchasing something, or get them to follow your social media account. So conversion copy is not all about selling. It's about getting people to take an action. And that action could be to join your newsletter, to download a freebie, to follow your social media account. So it doesn't, they don't have to always hand over money. So it looks at psychology and consumer behavior. And it generally includes things such as social proof, like testimonials, case studies. You might have videos, people talking about your product. It also tends to include urgency and sometimes scarcity. And that is to create a sense of fear, that people are going to miss out so that people take action fast. And I probably am assuming that you're sitting there going, oh, I hate those. There's actually a lot of research on it. If you don't give people an urgency to do something or a scarcity, and sometimes it actually is a scarcity. Like, for example, if you're running a group program and you only accept 10 people, then you need to tell people that. So there is a scarcity. It's not endless. And creating urgency is also known to make people take action. And I don't see it as a bad thing because sometimes people, they will just not ever take the action if you leave it open. So it's just, I think it's more about how you do it versus that you do it. So conversion copywriting doesn't need to feel icky and pushy. Good copy does need to speak to a specific pain or desire that your audience has, or it wouldn't be addressed in the right way. So good conversion copywriting speaks directly to the reader in a way that they feel it's 100% about them. It's one of those things when you read it, you're like, oh my God, are they looking over my shoulder? It's are they in my head? How did I know this about me, kind of thing? And if you're in business, you really want to write conversion copy on all of your marketing channels, like your website, your landing pages, as well as your ads. And you might be thinking, why do I need to write conversion copy on my website? Well, like I said, it is geared to get someone to take an action. So even on your homepage, you want to get people to take the next step, whether that is going to another page on your website or signing up for your newsletter or getting on a call with you. There's always you need to ask, or you need to write in a way that is going to persuade people to take an action. So in a nutshell, conversion copy is a powerful way to tell your story and get people to to take an action, aka convert. And converting and conversion doesn't always mean handing over money, just to be clear. So let's think about Facebook ads and what conversion copy in ads looks like. If you've ever paid attention to your newsfeed in Facebook and Instagram and looked a bit closer at the ads, you will see that most of the ones that are written well have conversion copy in it. Simply telling someone what to do isn't enough unless you've nurtured them and they know your brand and you're having a sale, for example, then you can tell them to buy now. So Facebook ads are made up of a number of elements. Like there's different components to a Facebook ad. You have a primary text, a headline, a description, and a call to action button. A strong headline is essential to capture someone's attention and to get them to read your ad. But your headline is often not the first thing that they see because it's displayed underneath your image or your video if you have creative in it. The first part that someone sees are literally the first 1 to 3 lines of your primary text. So you have to make sure that you get their attention in like 1 to 3 sentences. And you need to lead with a really clear and powerful 1 to 3 sentences. Get to the point quickly. There are many ways to start your ads. For example, you can lead with a thought-provoking question, a transformational story, a shocking statistic, or a bold proclamation. The point is to get their attention and speak to their pain or their desire. Not everything has to be about pain, but this is how we talk about it in marketing and copywriting. And it really depends on what your business is and how long it takes people to convert. It depends on how much trust people need to build up or how much of your story they need to hear first before they take action. So for e-commerce stores, it often doesn't take as much copy, but for digital businesses and service providers, it generally takes a bit more copy. So after your attention grabbing 1 to 3 sentences, you want to get to the body copy, which is kind of like the meat and potatoes of your copy. And your body copy should clearly articulate the core benefits and the features of the product or service and why it is the ideal solution for your ideal client. So you can actually use copywriting frameworks like AIDA, which stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. And I'll give you some tips for writing your Facebook ads copy. So you need to lead with a strong emphasis on the unique benefits and or features of your specific product or service that appeal most to your ideal client. So you need to start with the one or like the few things that appeal most to them. Like don't just list them in like alphabetical order or whatever. Start with like the most prominent one. Use clear, punchy language and also use bullets because it reads easier. Avoid a delay in sharing the essential information in a story. Like you need to, people might zone out. So you need to share the right things straight up. Create a sense of urgency or like action, make like people use action. You can use things like scarcity if it is relevant. You can use social proof, or you can literally ask them to act quickly because, you know, the offer might disappear. And don't forget to include like a call to action. So make it clear exactly what you want the reader to do and how. So for example, buy now, learn more, click, something like that. So with Facebook ads copy, you need to avoid using you focused copy. So you can't constantly say you. Especially when it comes to personal attributes like gender, race, age, finances, health, religion, etc. So any sort of financial or unrealistic claims, that's a no-no. You can make it a self-focused or a group-focused. So you can talk about, you know, you can say I or me or my or ours and us, we, those kind of things. So, for example, you can say something like, we all struggle to keep our emotions in check from time to time. Or us mothers know what it's like, blah, blah, blah. Or I felt like I was going around in circles in my business, something like that. Like you can say things like that. Avoid trying to say most, like, most people, blah, 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 because Facebook looks at that as lumping one group of people in a common category. So try to avoid that. But you can say many. So yeah, it's a bit tricky. It is okay to say you, but sparingly when you're not addressing attributes. For example, you can say, you know what I mean, like you're saying you. Or you can say, this is the solution you've been waiting for, like you using you. Or you are more powerful than you know. You can say you, just sparingly and when addressing attributes. So things that you can't say are like, do you wish you could lose some weight? Or are you unhappy in your marriage? Or do you wish you had a better figure? Things like that. Or are you ready to make an extra X amount of money in so many days? Like you can't say things like that. So avoid saying you too much, and especially when it comes to personal attributes. Then at the end, you need to use a call to action, which you can do by using Facebook, like by using one of their buttons. So they give you options, and the options are limited, but most of them will do what you want it to do. So for example, you can use buy now or sign up, or if you're unsure, you can use learn more. Learn more is actually a really good one to use if you don't really know what to use. There's lots of options. It's like watch more, things like that. So use one of the buttons for the call to action. And look, there are a lot more lessons to write good conversion copy, but one episode literally isn't enough. Over the past years, I have done like many different courses that teach how to write better copy, and I'll put some of them in the show notes so you can see, what I have kind of used to learn to write better copy. And look, copywriting isn't a walk in the park, and it can actually be quite hard. That's why it's like a specialization in itself. So let's talk about the mistakes that are often made with conversion copy. And look, I'm not an expert by any means. Like there's way better experts than me, but I've been trying, I've been learning. So here we go. So one of the mistakes is that people focus too much on features instead of benefits. Your audience needs to know why they need what you offer, and not necessarily yet what's part of the offer. That is still part of conversion copywriting, and it's still part of Facebook advertising copywriting, but it tends to be more middle of funnel, bottom of funnel part. So not to a cold audience as someone that you are literally introducing to your offer. So another mistake is that it really all comes down to this one. And some people just don't focus enough on understanding their audience and writing for them. If you know your audience well, it should be really easy to write for them. It's like you're writing for that one person that is your ideal client. And if your copy isn't speaking to your ideal audience's pain points or their greatest desires, your copy is going to be ignored and you're not going to see any conversions. So knowing your audience, that's one of the main things. Lastly, you need to include a call to action, which means you need to give people an instruction on what you want them to do. And a call to action is a critical element of conversion copywriting. Like if you're not telling them what to do, you're not going to be able to get the conversion. And if it's unclear, your audience may not know what to do next, or they may simply not be motivated to take the action. Like if you're not telling them what's next, how are they going to know? So overall, effective conversion copywriting requires a deep understanding of your audience, a clear and compelling value proposition, and a strong call to action. So I told you I've been playing with AI, and as much as I love it and it kind of speeds up the process, I still think you should write your own ad copy. Firstly, AI lacks human creativity and intuition. So you're going to get pretty bland copy. And a robot just doesn't know your audience like you do, and it won't be able to speak in a way that resonates with them emotionally. Secondly, effective copywriting is more than just putting some words on paper. Like, you need to build trust and rapport with your audience, and a robot doesn't really get this. And you really want to infuse your brand voice and your personality. And I don't think a robot has personality. Look, it is really easy to use to sort of speed up the process. But when I was reading the responses that I got when I asked my questions, I was like, yeah, it just sounds like a computer wrote it. Like, there's no personality in it. Thirdly, nothing is fact-checked when you get a service like ChatGPT to create content for you. So you could totally be fibbing away and not even know. So don't rely on everything it tells you. And lastly, the reason that these AI copy generators are so smart is because they scan the web for copy. And that basically means they're stealing it from other people's websites. And that, in my book, is a big fat no. Sure, nothing is new, but simply copying and pasting is just not on. Plus, you just won't get any conversions because it lacks personality and it doesn't have that audience insight that you have. So while it's pretty cool to use tools like ChatGPT and it can really help you speed up the content process, I still suggest that you get to know your audience so well that the copy just rolls off your tongue. It's not likely to replace human copywriters anytime soon because it lacks a deep understanding of your audience. And it's also not as creative as you would write. And it can't yet replicate that human touch. Like, it's literally, I was reading it and I was like, oh my God, this is so dull. It is really good because you can take bits and pieces and infuse it with your tone of voice, your brand voice, your personality. So I think there is a place for it. It's just you can't rely on it. So that's my take on conversion copywriting in an era of AI. And you can write your own copy so much better, but it is okay to use AI if you want to start, if you want to use it to get started. Like, we are all going to do it, right? Just make sure that you check the facts and that you change it to your brand voice in a way that resonates with your audience and it infuses your personality. I'll put some links in the show notes to my favorite and trusty copywriters and copywriting resources so that you can create your own conversion copy and that you can do it so that you actually get conversions and people are not like snore at your copy. Cool. All right. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the New School of Marketing podcast. I hope it was helpful and I can't wait to share more marketing tips with you next week. If you are ready to take your business to the next level with Facebook and Instagram advertising, make sure you visit newschoolofmarketing.com to download practical free resources, plus subscribe to the podcast and never miss an episode. I can't wait to go on this journey with you. Until next time, take care and market your business every day.